Welcome to our family information night. Just want to share some things that you might be wondering about camp, or if you have a good idea, maybe just see some nice photos of what camp looks like now. And hopefully I can have some time at the end to answer any questions you might have. Feel free to put them in the chat as we're going along. That way you remember them right when they're coming up. And then, like I said, at the end, I'm happy to answer all of the questions in the chat. All right, so a little housekeeping. Our agenda for the night is to go over some big things like our lodging, our dining, and our health at camp. Then I'll answer some frequently asked questions I get the most from parents and families. Then I'd like to show you what a day at camp might look like. Go over any upcoming dates we have at camp, a couple things coming up. And then, like I mentioned, some question and answer time for all those questions you have. So I'll briefly mention my background here. My name's Adam Milton. I'm our camp director at Camp Weona. A little blurb there just about me if you'd like to read, but I'm the executive director at our overnight camp, Camp Weona, as well as a day camp in Corfu, New York called Camp Tehigwa through the Y. I just started my 4th year at the Y, and I have over 10 years of camp leadership experience across different day camps and overnight camps. If you see there one thing that says Frisbee, puzzles, yoga, I like sharing with families that the start of my camping journey was when I went to a camp, and I was fascinated that when you got to camp, you were given a choice between going to learn ultimate Frisbee or starting a puzzle or going out in the lawn and doing yoga in the sunshine. And I remember everyone was excited about it, but I was very intrigued that there are different options at camp, and how did the counselors pick those activities? And, you know, I like the variety and diversity in it. So just got me thinking about all the things that happen behind the scenes at camp and the different options there. So I like mentioning that. Some information about our camp, Camp Weona. It is actually a pretty historic camp. Last summer, we celebrated 125 years of having campers and teens come. Began in 1897, so we've been here quite a while, and it is permitted through the Wyoming County and New York State Department of Health. Where is Camp Weona? If you've never been here before, it is not too far of a drive, depending on where you're coming from. I put a couple towns and landmarks there to see how long it might take you to come to camp, just to plan ahead. I put our address there. Feel free to put us in Google Maps, or just search in Google YMCA Camp Weona and we show up. From downtown Buffalo, we're about an hour away. And then if you're coming from the South Towns or anywhere closer, it's a little time off. But we have a lot of campers even from Grand Island and Lockport and all over that come make the trip to spend time at Camp Weona. So a little map of camp here to kind of highlight how big camp is. There is an aerial map here from Google, as well as our handy map we can pass out at camp with a couple nicer pictures there. Camp has 2 areas, upper camp and lower camp. At upper camp, it's connected by a couple of our paths, and then our hiking trails would take you down into our lower camp, where we have a few more cabins, our dining hall, our health lodge, the pool, a couple more activities down at lower camp. Both of them are you know, fun in their own way, and then when you add them together, it's quite a lot of land and activities for all of our campers. Weona offers fields and forests and campsites and creeks and our lake, as I put there. So a lot of nature to enjoy and to walk through with your cabin. A couple of dates here if you are interested in camp, or you just signed up and want to know what the theme is for the week. We have all of our dates and themes here and our different programs. We have a first experience program, which is for our younger campers, our first timers, maybe ages 5 to 8, as well as our traditional camp weeks for ages 7 to 14. And then some of our leadership opportunities for our young adult teens in the LIT, CIT programs, which I'll mention in a few slides here. We drop off on Sunday afternoon. Last year it was about 3 p.m. and we'll have definite times out soon. And then new this year is our Family Friday, where Friday evenings we have families come and join us at camp, and we're excited to do that. So right before pickup, we're going to have families here for activities and a tour of camp, as well as dinner and some snacks over the campfire and songs. So it should be a lot of fun, and we're excited to have what I call our best tour guides at camp, the campers, show you around where they've been all week, and that'll be fun. I also wanted to mention, if you are looking for additional weeks or themes or other camps to explore, or you've been around the Y for a bit and you want to try some new camps that maybe you haven't heard of, we have another amazing overnight camp called Camp Keenan, which is located right on Lake Ontario. It's actually the water right there of Lake Ontario. And that is located through, or just about 30 minutes past the Lockport area, the Lockport YMCA. And their amazing camp director, Jennifer, has helped run Weona the past few years and kept us going. So shout out to Jen and all of her amazing counselors there. And check out some more info on Camp Keenan if you're interested in that. So at Weona, we have about 20 to 25 counselors that help take care of all of our campers and take care of each other. We have local staff from around the area. We have international staff that come to us through the Camp America program. All of our staff are age 17 or older. They go through background checks, personal reference checks, trainings, a whole bunch of prep to make sure that everyone's ready and skilled for the weeks of camp. And then specific activities like lifeguarding and archery and rock wall facilitation. We do trainings throughout that week of training as well. I like this photo here, and I wanted to show it because it shows part of our international staff member from last summer, Barack, as well as myself, a local staff member, Mel, and one of our CITs, one of our team leaders, whose camp nickname is Shaggy. So a nice photo that kind of highlights a whole team of staff there. So I've mentioned them, and they're really awesome and very important at camp. It's our leaders in training and counselors in training. So these are our 14 to 16-year-olds that have way too much fun at camp, and we love them for it. If you see in that photo there, they are doing a nice fun skit, song, dance at a campfire. Like I said, having a lot of fun. But they play a really important role at camp. They are our role models. They're demonstrating things for other campers. They're keeping our traditions going. So they're really, really awesome for a whole bunch of reasons. And they're a part of camp for multiple weeks. So they're learning, they're practicing some skills as counselors and leaders. So it's a really great program that we are filling up quite a lot this summer, and it's growing and it's great. And we love having those teams around camp. So some health and safety around camp. A lot of families would like to know more about, is my camper safe? Are they healthy? Yes and yes. We have to thank Nurse Sue for that. Nurse Sue from this past summer, if you were attending camp this past summer, is coming back this year. Nurse Sue is amazing and lovely and patient with all of our campers and staff, so we love her. Nurse Sue is there 24 hours a day, so even in the middle of the night when someone has an upset stomach, they can go see Nurse Sue if they need to. The Health Lodge is air conditioned in all of the rooms there. So even if campers are feeling a little bit warm, just need a couple minutes to cool down, it's air conditioned, which is a nice little break for our campers there. And Nurse Sue helps with distributing any medications and doing any first aid that's needed at camp, as well as communicating with parents. So it might be simple things. So if camp calls and it's Nurse Sue, don't panic. Sometimes she's just checking in and saying hi. And yeah, everyone is healthy and safe at camp, and all of our medications are distributed through that Health Lodge there. So where do the campers stay? I'd like to tell everyone about our cabin villages, which is really unique at camp. It's 3 separate villages that are throughout camp that give kind of a small, cozy environment, a little more of a community feel than our big camp altogether. And it kind of gives them a little pride in, they're a part of the Onondaga cabin or the Cherokee cabin, all the different cabins and villages that they make lifelong friends in. Each cabin has electricity. but we have a bathroom cabin in each village. So the bathrooms are not inside of the cabins. It is a very, very short walk, probably a 30-second walk to the bathroom that has toilets and sinks and hot and cold water and anything they need there. So for lodging in the cabins, each one holds about 8 to 12 campers. So on average, somewhere around 10 campers sleeping in bunk beds in the cabin. If you see there in our girls' village, that was the Cherokee cabin this past summer, hanging out on their steps and their porch. The cabins are grouped by gender and by similar age meaning about a 2 to 3 year range. So we might have 8 and 9-year-olds together, or 10 to 12-year-olds. Just depends on the week and what age campers we have. But they are grouped together to give them a shared experience there and meet friends their age, their grade. Each cabin does have 2 staff members in it at all times. So there are always 2 adults there to look after the campers and help them with whatever's needed. One big question I want to talk about now is bunkmate requests. A lot of families ask how they can go about having their camper join with their friend from school or their neighbor or what have you. In our forms that are coming out in the next couple of months, we have one spot that's dedicated for putting one name of a bunkmate request. We ask for just one name, so that way it's not a group of 10 all signed up together. That makes our logistics a little bit tougher, but one person that they can be a buddy with at camp. And we do everything we can to put people together that are coming in as friends or neighbors or anything. For siblings, if there are siblings that are coming to camp that might end up in the same cabin, I like to have a little feedback from families if you'd like them together, if you'd like them separate, because some families would lean one way or lean the other. So our meals and dining, we eat very well at camp and very healthy. I wrote, listen for the train whistle here. We have a nice train whistle that each cabin will get to pull the horn for to tell everyone at camp it's time to come wash your hands. The campers put their backpacks on the rack. They come up to our hand washing station. They come in and check out the different options. There are always options for our meals. So if you have a pickier eater or someone that isn't wanting to try something, there are always other options for them. Our salad bar with all of our fixings and toppings, or other parts of the meal if they don't like the one, chicken sandwich if it's not their favorite. But we make sure everyone is enjoying their meals and taking their time to relax and unwind during mealtime, to kind of pause us throughout the day, let them all talk about the day or what's coming up next. We do have vegetarian and other options like gluten-free, things like that we are happy to make accommodations for. Here's an example of the menu on the left and a quick glimpse of our dining hall on the right. Obviously during a crazy time, I think during a cleanup time, I see some empty plates and bowls there. So we normally have a hot and a cold option at breakfast. So something like scrambled eggs and a yogurt bar or cereal if they want something a little simpler. For lunch, we have, filling but healthy options, as well as dinner, always trying to give everyone good energy to keep going throughout the day. No pop and minimal desserts, because there's always some s'mores or whatnot to be made later on as well. But a little glimpse into our menu and our dining hall. And another big question that we get is, where do the campers shower? So attached to our pool there, our gorgeous pool that looks so great to go in during our cold weather here. I wish it would be 80, 90 degrees so we can hop in now. Attached to our pool there are the boys and girls shower halls. So they are separated. Girls are to the left. If you walk in the doors, you see boys are to the right. We encourage after swimming. That's a great time to have the whole cabin do their showers. Or in the morning, we have time at rest hour or before bed. So plenty of time for the campers to stay clean and smell good around camp like we need them to. Please pack all of their bathroom and shower supplies. We don't have any community shower supplies like soap or shampoo. So please make sure they're packing everything, including towels as well. What should you pack? So here are just some suggestions. It's not an exclusive list. So this is just to kind of give you an idea of some things you might need. Clothing, please label all clothing. So that way, if I have 2 pairs of black shorts, I can check the tag and see someone's initials on them or someone's name. That would be very helpful because sometimes campers are unsure of what their shirt looks like or which superhero or Pokemon shirt is there. So please make sure everything's labeled. Please plan for hot and cool weather. In Western New York, of course, it can go from very warm to very cold very quickly. So make sure that you're prepared for a little bit of both. We encourage a rain jacket, especially a sweatshirt for chillier nights too. Please make sure that there's a nice sweatshirt in their bags. 2 pairs of sneakers in case one does get wet at all or dirty and we just need an extra pair of sneakers. And please make sure they have a swimsuit and towel, multiple towels if you think that they would need that. I won't read through the rest of the list, but just to give you an idea of what we have, there's our packing list there. One big thing I will mention is sending a water bottle because we are doing a lot of fun activity throughout the day and they will be thirsty. We have water all throughout camp, but we do need them to send a empty reusable water bottle, preferably with their name on it. So that way we know whose is whose. Please make sure that they have their water bottle, or even better, they can start practicing a couple of weeks before camp, keeping their water bottle on them at all times. So that way they know to be responsible for it. So I want to mention some communication between home and camp because this might be the first time that the campers might not be able to call home or see family every night. And that is okay. That's why they're there. We want them to be proactive and positive at home with you. So that means talking excitedly about camp and that they're going to do great. And one thing I ask all families is tell them to have fun and that you want them to have fun. And it's okay that they're there having fun. So that way they're focused on all the fun of camp and not thinking of home. We do encourage them to have letters dropped off. So Sunday afternoon, if you would like to pre-write out some letters, you can label them with their name and the day of the week. If you would like for them to receive it on a certain day, the first day of camp, the last day. That's a nice way for campers to have a little message from home that might get them through the week as well. It could be fun and silly and powerful, all different letters, and the campers look forward to that. We also do something called WeMail, which is Weona email, coined last summer, which is a digital way you can send messages in that I can print and distribute to campers during their rest time. And that's a fun way as well for you to say, hey, I saw you horseback riding. What was your horse's name? We look forward to seeing you soon. A nice way to do some live messages throughout the week too. And you can send them with some blank cards or letters. They will probably not make it home before you pick them up on Friday, but that's okay. They can practice writing them and writing a letter and stamping it. The camp director, myself, and the health director, Nurse Sue, would be the ones to reach out and contact you if we needed anything from you. So I'm happy to share our numbers beforehand, and we'll reach out to you throughout the summer if needed. You can follow us on Facebook, and I have those names and links later on in the PowerPoint as well. But we have our Camp Weona Facebook page and our Camp Weona parent group, which is a closed group that you can see our photos throughout the week. One big thing at camp, we do not allow any cell phones or electronics. So this is a good way for everyone to unplug throughout the week and just focus on the fun and have a breather from being on their phones, tablets, etc. And for them to learn some independence, that they're on their own and doing great as well. So I'll pause here and tell everyone a little bit about a day at camp. So what the day might look like on a typical day. It does look like a lot of things going on because we fill the day and we pack it with a lot of fun. There is downtime for everyone to relax. And we're not pushing everyone throughout the day, but we do include a lot going on throughout each day to make sure that we're making the most of our time at camp here. So feel free to check out the schedule on the left. We wake up a little bit after 7 o'clock and do what's called brush and flush and brush our teeth and use the restroom. Then go to morning watch, which is a really nice amphitheater looking over our lake for jokes and riddles and stories to wake everyone up, get them ready for the fun to be had all day. Then we do breakfast and announcements around 8:30. Then the cabins go out to their first rotation. So it might be something like archery, followed by canoeing, nice long hours or more there for our rotation. So that way they have time to really dig in and settle into their activity, do it multiple times, work on their skills with something like an archery or rock climbing. Then we have lunch around 1, then an hour of rest time where campers will do their mail or hang out on the porch of their cabin and play cards or games. They can put their head down and take a nap. It's a quieter time, quiet music playing where they can relax however they need to, with no activities going on at camp. After the siesta rest hour, we do have cabin group choice where they can choose an activity around camp to do as a cabin. So something they had a lot of fun with, or something that they're in the mood for together, or they want to finish their art project they started earlier in the day. So they get to choose something for their cabin group choice. And then after that is something the campers choose on their own called skills track, which is one dedicated activity they pick that they will do each day throughout the week. So if they are part of the sports skills track, they might do a different sport each day, Monday through Friday, or they might do the arts and crafts skills track and work on a week-long project as opposed to just something that they could do in a day. So it's a nice way for them to dig in and meet other campers from different groups that they might not be able to see otherwise, or for siblings to join up and do the adventure track together and do rock climbing and zip lining, etc. Then we have dinner and then an evening program, which I will tell you about soon, a different variety of something we do after dinner. And then we brush and flush again, and we head to bed for the next day of camp. Here are some photos of our activities here. Obviously at Camp Weona, we have a really awesome activity. Each camper gets to do horseback riding once a week. Everyone's involved in horseback riding. So even our youngest kids up to our CITs get to do horseback riding if they choose to. It is a 2-hour session. So they really get a lot of time to work with the instructors from our neighbor farm, Wolcott Farms, that we're happy to bring back from last summer. The campers have a blast doing it. They do fun games. They do something that is appropriate for their age. And horseback riding is included with registration. So nothing you have to sign up for, nothing extra, just part of the fun at camp. So we have some of the younger kiddos on our left in our riding ring here playing musical chairs. When I saw this for the first time, I got a kick out of it because it was so great seeing them lead the horses around while the music's playing. And then when it stops, get to the nearest cone. It was awesome. The kids loved it, as well as trail rides that all the kids do. This is a cabin of older campers here on our right, going through some of our really, really beautiful trails around camp. I mentioned the pool because I am really excited to go swimming soon, hopefully soon in the next few months when it's nice. But swimming we have at camp, it's for all ages and skill levels. We, of course, have our lifeguard swim instructors on the deck at all times. Part of our Department of Health permit is having a really well-inspected, well-regulated pool. So we are always safe around the pool at camp. We have a swim assessment on Sundays or Mondays whenever we get in the pool first. That will help the lifeguards determine if the camper is a deep end swimmer, shallow end, or a non-swimmer, which is just the technical term for someone that would use a flotation device, a personal flotation device at camp in the shallow end too. So even though it says non-swimmer, everyone can get in the pool and swim if they choose to. We swim almost every day depending on the group schedule. Maybe a day with horseback riding, you might not be in the pool that day, but if you're not in the pool one day, you'll be in the pool the next, all weather dependent as well. Another fun thing we do at camp, one of my favorites, is rock climbing on our outdoor rock walls here. We also have an indoor rock wall if it does have more inclement weather, so we can still have fun doing rock climbing and bouldering indoors too. Here is a group doing rock climbing outside, followed by zip lining. Almost all ages can do this. It's really dependent on if a camper is ready for it mentally and, at their own confidence and comfort level. I will tell a lot of campers the first time I tried doing these kind of elements and obstacles, it was not for me. But now in the summer, you can find me 30 feet up in the air having fun doing climbing and zip lining and our high ropes elements up there. Here are some campers and our staff members doing the challenge course up in the air there between rock climbing and zip lining. If that is not for you, that is okay, but you can frame it in a really positive way and encourage your campers to try it as well, because it is a lot of fun and it's very powerful to overcome some nervousness with it. One of our other camp favorites is, of course, our bounce pillow. It is like a bounce house, but tucked into the ground there. So it inflates and the laughter and giggles ensue very quickly after. Last summer, we had some of our girl cabins that wanted to do a sleepover on the bounce pillow, which they love doing. So they brought out all their sleeping bags and blankets and pillows and turned the bounce pillow into a giant sleeping area there for their sleep out. We have an awesome arts and crafts studio filled with everything they need, from paint to simple coloring sheets to boondoggle and paracord and all sorts of fun there, as well as some candle making and ceramics and pottery we're hoping to bring back for this summer. A lot of fun at camp, a great adventure, outdoor nature, but a little bit calmer activity is archery, and it helps the kids learn to work on their skills. And if it's their first time, that's okay. We teach them and get them up to where they're comfortable, shooting off a couple arrows from the bow. And the look of joy when a camper either hits the target or hits a bullseye or does something that they've been working towards all week is a really satisfying moment at camp. So it's always exciting and a lot of fun. We also have fun outdoor activities like fishing and nature around our beautiful lake there. This camper caught the fish there and our staff members holding it. And of course, they were over the moon excited as well. We have canoeing and kayaking around our lake. Everyone is safe on the lake. And if it's your first time, that's okay. If you've done it before, we want you to show everyone how fun it is. So canoeing and kayaking is a really nice activity at camp as well. We have things like sports all throughout camp, fields and kickball areas and our basketball court and indoor sports and outdoor sports and all the different sports equipment that we would need to fill up the week having fun outside, as well as everyone's favorite sport, the infamous Gaga ball. If you're wondering what Gaga ball is, it is like a lower intensity game of dodgeball where you are slapping a ball to bounce off someone's knees or feet. And it can be played for hours if we didn't have the kids move on to something else. They are absolutely obsessed with Gaga ball, but this is what that looks like. I mentioned the evening programs after dinner. So that's something that's kind of an all camp activity, and it might be a group relay race or a scavenger hunt. Once a week, we do a camp dance where we have all of our music and sound equipment set up, some lights on, and we have our counselors in training and leaders in training decorate and host a dance for everyone, which is a lot of fun, as well as campfires, classic fires that are in the villages right outside of cabins, or our all campfire, which is in our right outside the dining hall there, where the entire camp is together for skits and songs and snacks as well as sleep outs, like I mentioned, either under the stars or in a tent or on the bounce pillow as well. One question I wanted to answer here that I get a lot is what happens on a rainy day. Depending on the weather, we might just keep going throughout the day, or we might have to adjust and move indoors, which lets us have more fun doing rock climbing and bouldering inside, or more arts and crafts, or music, or nature, or any of the fun things we have indoors as well. Ping pong, our game room filled with a ton of board games and card games, a theater stage, lots of things to do there. So as we're wrapping up here, I just wanted to share my email there, our phone number at camp, mention our next webinar, which is March 29th at the same time, which will have similar information, a couple updates, but it is going to be very similar to this format of information. Our next big event at camp, I'm happy to tell you about, is Healthy Kids Day. It is Saturday, April 29th that the YMCA hosts Healthy Kids Day. And in addition to your local nearby Y, we're going to have our Healthy Kids Day from 2 to 4 p.m. at Camp Weona. So it's a little bit earlier in the day at the branches, so you can go there and then come out to camp and use that as a way to tour camp or see it for the first time or come back to reminisce or pop into a cabin and see what they look like, see our dining hall, etc., as well as celebrate Healthy Kids Day, and we'll have some fun activities and snacks there as well. And then we have our formal spring open house June 3rd in the afternoon as well, so mark your calendars. I mentioned our 2 Facebook groups, YMCA Camp Weona, and then our parent group, which is a closed group. So for the password, put your camper's name there, and if they're registered for the summer, we'll add them into the parent group. So you can see our photos and updates in that closed group there. So at this time, that wraps up. We do have about 5 minutes. I have my Zoom countdown there telling me that it is almost time to wrap up. So at this time, if there's any questions in the chat, feel free to ask any questions, and I'm happy to answer them there. Thank you so much. We'll see you this summer.